This is question 22. This is question 22. C is a circle with center origin. Okay, a tangent to C passes the points -20, 0 and 0, 10. Work out an equation of C. Okay, so let's just draw a diagram first. This is the first thing that we have to do for this kind of a question. I'll draw my axis. Center origin. Okay, that's about origin. Okay, a tangent to C passes through the point -20, 0 and 0, 10. Okay, so -20, 0, that's like somewhere over here, and 10 and 0, 10 is like, okay, so let me extend this a bit. Okay, so this is -20 and this is 10. Work out an equation of C. Okay, so we can use simultaneous equations to solve this question. That's because we know that we can work out the equation of this line, okay, the tangent, and we can just write a generic equation for the circle C, and we can equate them, and we know that they only touch at one particular point. Okay, and that's very useful. I'm just thinking if there is a better way to solve the question. Now, another way is just finding the gradient of the tangent. And because tangents meet the radius in 90 degrees, we know that this is 90 degrees right here. However, that's not going to be that helpful because, again, we have to use simultaneous equations if we know this gradient to find like this point, and then we use Pythagoras to find the radius. Okay, yeah. So let's stick with the method I said originally. So what is the line equation of the tangent? So let's write tangent. Okay, so y is equal to mx plus c is the generic form of a line. Plus c represents where it intercepts the y-axis, which is in this case 10. And the gradient is just going to be rise over run, which is 10 over -20. So the line equation is half x plus 10. Okay? And just to make sure, if I just plug in -20 into this, -20, half of -20 is -10, -10 plus 10, y is equal to 0, and yep, y is equal to 0. And the same thing happens when I plug into x, because y is just 10. Okay, nice. Now, what is the generic equation for the circle? Because we know that it has center origin, it's just x squared plus y squared is equal to the radius squared. And we just have to find what the radius squared is, because the question asks to work out an equation of C. And the equation is just x squared plus y squared, and the only thing we don't know is the value of r. Okay, so let's equate these two together. I'm going to substitute y into this right here. Actually, no, I'm not. I don't like the fact that 1 over 2 is like hanging, because it's going to be quite difficult to, like, when I square, it's going to become 1 over 4, and that just gets quite messy. So I'm going to change equation 1 to make, so from 1, I'm going to make that y minus 10 times 2 is equal to x. I just rearrange it to make x the subject. I subtracted 10 and times everything by 2. This is the same as 2y minus 20 is equal to x. Okay? Now I'm going to substitute it into equation 2. I'm going to call this equation 3. Okay? Sub 3 into 2. So I'm going to have to square this part, and it's going to be 4y squared plus 400 minus 2ab, so plus 2ab, but in this case it's minus, so it will be 80y. Let me just make sure I did that right. Yeah. Now I'm going to have to add the y squared, and this is going to be equal to r squared. Okay, so I've got here 5y squared minus 80y plus 400 is equal to r squared. Bring everything to one side to make it equal to 0. 5y squared minus 80y plus 400 minus r squared is equal to 0. Okay, now I can use the quadratic formula to find the value of y. However, we know that the value of y, there's only one value of y, because it's a tangent. Okay, so in fact I can use the discriminant. And let me just write the discriminant first. The discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. And what the discriminant tells us is, if the discriminant is less than 0, then no solutions. If the discriminant is more than 0, then there are 2 solutions. And the discriminant is equal to 0, there's only one solution to the equation. And as I said, we only want one solution. So that means the discriminant has to be equal to 0. And the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. In this case, and a, b, and c are the generic form of a quadratic. So a y squared plus by plus c. Okay? So let's find, what is b squared? B squared is negative 80 squared, which is just 6400. Yep. Minus 4ac, which is, a is just 5, and c is 400 minus r squared. Okay? So 6400 minus 400 minus r squared is equal to 0. So 6400 minus, let's time this is 8,000. Negative 20 times negative r squared becomes positive 20 r squared is equal to 0. So 20 r squared minus 1600 is equal to 0. So 20 r squared is equal to 1600. Divide both sides by 20. R squared is equal to 80, I believe. Divide by 2. Yep. So r is just square root 80. However, remember, in the line equation, we are looking for the value of r squared. So we don't need to find the value of square root 80, because the question just says, work out the equation of c. And the equation of c includes r squared. So the answer is going to be x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, which is just 80. And this is our answer.